Hello all, welcome back to Trinity Software. Let's see about how to display MySQL data in table format in Python GUI using TreeView widget. So these are the topics to be covered in this video. The first step is we are going to connect our Python code to MySQL database and retrieve a specific table data. And then we will be displaying that retrieved data in a table format using TreeView widget in tkinter. And we'll be using style class to change the theme of your application as well as to change the font and color of the text present in the tree view. And finally, we are going to add a horizontal scroll bar to our tree view widget. So let's start with the first step, connecting the MySQL database and retrieving a table data. The first step being you have to import mysql.connector. I have already explained about connecting the Python code with exam MySQL in one of my previous video. You can find that link to the video in the description below. I have explained these steps in detail. Okay, so right now for connecting to the database you have to import this one, and obviously for tkinter you have to import tkinter as tk, and I will be explaining this shortly. R is equal to tk.tk. This method actually creates the main window of the application. And then we are setting the title of the application as student details, and I am setting the width and height of the application as 600 into 300. And these are the steps to connect to our database. By using connect method, we are passing the arguments host, username, password of the MySQL server, and the database to be used as Trinity registration. And if you are changed to the default port number, that must be specified explicitly. And while you are executing the program, make sure that your exam server is running. So in this case, I am using exam server, and here is the database I have used, Trinity registration, registered members list. So this is the table, and you can see there are actually 10 rows and 7 columns here. We are executing this query, selecting everything from the table register member. Now we are moving on to the second step. You are going to display it in the form of a table in tkinter. For that purpose, you need to make use of this tree view. Actually, tree view is a subclass of widget class. So this tree view widget belongs to tkinter.ttk model. So for that purpose, we must import this statement from tkinter import ttk. Okay. Now we can refer to the widget using this statement ttk.treeview of R. The R is the main window of the application. It takes one more argument also here, that is the columns. So that I have mentioned here separately, tree of columns. It must be a tuple with the column names specified by the user. So you can have your own names for the columns. Now after doing that, for each and every column, we are going to assign the width, minimum width and anchor. So width of a column can be specified in pixels. So width is set to 50 for student ID, and minimum width is also set to 50 for student ID. This minimum width means that when the widget is resized, this column will not become smaller than this value given here. You cannot make the width of a column smaller than 50. And anchor is equal to tk.center means that all the text is aligned at the center in the column student ID. So similarly, we are doing it for all the columns. And then we are going to assign the heading names also to the respective columns. So these are the column names. You can specifically assign the heading names using this text. And for heading also we have set the anchor tag. So finally we are going to insert the table values from the MySQL database into the tree view using this command tree.insert. So actually I is initialized to 0 and for each row in connection. So remember this conn. Using this statement, we have executed this select query. We have selected everything from the table registered member. So there are 10 rows. So this loop will be executed 10 times from 0 to 9. And then this statement also will be called 10 times, tree.insert. The first argument here is the parent. If you want the parent widget as a root node, we can just set this as an empty string. And second argument is the index. So in this case, it is going to change based on the i's value. And the third argument is text. We are not going to pass anything separately here. And values is set. So we are passing all the columns, row of 0 to row of 6. So and finally, we will be incrementing the value of I. And finally, we have to place the tree in the widget. So using tree.pack. And then you must call this main loop at the end of your program when your application is ready to run. So let's run this. So we have set the width and height as 600 into 300. So we are not able to see all the columns here. We can see the 10 rows, but we are not able to see all the columns. That's why we are going to add horizontal scroll bar. And notice this empty column here. So we have to delete this empty column. Apart from that, we have got all the 10 rows and all the 7 columns displayed here. Okay, as I have mentioned, you have this minimum width. You cannot reduce the column width beyond that value. So next step is we have to remove that unwanted empty column. That first empty column is actually the identifier of the element. So we have to remove that by setting the show parameter using this statement tree of show equal to setting it as headings. Actually, tree of show, by default it will be 3 headings. That is, it will be showing all the elements. That's why we are able to see that first empty column also. If you set it to headings, means that it will display the heading row alone and it will ignore the first column. So on executing this, notice that the first empty column has vanished. Okay, fine. Now I just want to change the theme so that it will give our application an entirely different look. So let me first check what are the themes available in my system and what is the theme used now by default. So in order to do that, you have to first import TTK. From tkinter import TTK, and then we have to use style class is equal to ttk dot style. So we got the TK window opened. Now I just want to check what are the themes available in my system, that is in my operating system. S dot theme underscore names. This will return a tuple containing the names of all the available themes. If you see, this classic theme gives you the original pre-TTK appearance. Let's find out what theme is used by default. In order to check that, you have to use s.theme underscore use. Without passing any argument, it will display the default theme used. That is, Vista is used in my system. Now if I want to change it to some other theme, just use s.theme underscore use of WinNative or Clam. So that's what I have done in our coding. So these are the 2 lines I have added right now. S is equal to ttk.style of R and change the theme to Clam. So on executing this, you can see the difference. The heading has been changed to a different color. It has been highlighted like this. You can try with different themes by just changing s.theme underscore use to WinNative or SPNative or anything else. You can also change the font size, font color. In order to do that, I have added these 2 lines using s.configure method. The first argument is dot and second argument is the font to be changed. The font type and the font size is mentioned here. So if you want this font to be applicable to all the widgets, then you have to use the style dot within quotes. And if you want it to be specific for heading alone, if you want to change the color, I have used foreground is equal to red and heading alone should be in bold. So I have made it as font is equal to Helvetica 11, bold. So on executing this, we get, so see the difference. The font size has been increased from 10 to 11. Helvetica is used and the heading is in red color and it is in bold. And finally, we need to set up a horizontal scroll bar to view all the columns in our table, right? So I am going to make use of scroll bar widget. So these 4 statements are included here in our code. So horizontal scroll bar is added using the scroll bar widget. So this is the syntax for creating a scroll bar, ttk.scrollbar, and the first argument is a root into comma, and you have to set orient is equal to horizontal if you want a horizontal scroll bar, or orient is equal to vertical if you want a vertical scroll bar. And then we are going to configure this by setting this command is equal to tree.xview. Actually, this method will be called whenever the scroll bar is moved. And xview means that it will modify the horizontal position of the tree view. And after this, in order to connect a scroll bar to another widget, say in this case, you have to connect the scroll bar to the widget tree view, right? So for that purpose, you have to set the xscroll command of tree to hsb.set. That is, hsb is the horizontal scroll bar which we have created now. And then you can pack this horizontal scroll bar. Simply, if you just use hsb.pack, it will be packed at the top. So I have used side is equal to bottom and it must be filled horizontally. In order to fill it horizontally, you are using the value x. So since you are specifying these values explicitly, you have to include this statement in the fourth statement. From tkinter, import star should be added to your code. On executing this, so horizontal scroll bar has been added here. So you can just move this horizontal scroll bar and can view all the columns. Okay, that's it. We can add more features to this tree view. So we will see all those features in the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, kindly share and subscribe.